Hi everyone, this is Sheila with Successful Women Talk, and thanks again for tuning in today. Hey listen, today I am excited. I am here with Lara Galloway, the Mom Biz Coach at mombizcoach.com. Lara comes to us with a wealth of information, and we have a very interesting conversation that some would maybe consider a little bit taboo. Lara is very honest when she talks about how it was when she was a stay-at-home mom, had moved to Canada with her husband and what that meant for her and her need to be fulfilled being an extroverted type of person. We talk business, things on how to narrow down your niche, just a really great in-depth conversation with Lara. Only thing I need to let you know here is we had a little bit of technical difficulty and the video did not work. So what you're going to see is a picture of Lara and myself on the screen. In the background, you will see the beautiful Caribbean Ocean. It's a shot from, I was on vacation a couple of weeks ago in St. Martin's. So I included that on there. So let's all pretend that we've got our feet kicked up, that we're sitting by the Caribbean and we're listening to a great conversation with myself and Lara Galloway from mombizcoach.com. And don't forget to go to our website, www.successfulwomentalk.com. Leave us a comment, subscribe to our newsletter, and join the community. Thanks again, and tune in for today's interview. Hi everyone, this is Sheila Butler with Successful Women Talk, and I am most excited today. We have very special guest, Lara Galloway. Lara is a mompreneur, speaker, trainer, business coach. She also hosts a show on Blog Talk Radio. So please help me in saying hello to Lara.
Hello, thanks. I'm so happy to be here, Sheila.
Thank you for joining me today. You're busy. We're both kind of busy. You're a busy person to get a hold of, so I appreciate your taking the time to talk with us.
It is my pleasure, and I appreciate your generosity in helping me be flexible this summer. Scheduling between our both of our sets of kids has been exciting and fun, and I love the chaos of summer, but it wreaks havoc on my work. So thanks so much for making it work.
Well, you are welcome. I think the beauty of that, it shows that you are a real mompreneur. So you're not only just a business owner, but you're a mom. You're having to work around all those different schedules. So.
Exactly. Like I'm just counting the minutes until one of the three kids bursts through the door and tells me they need something. So I'm hiding in the master bedroom right now.
Well, the nice thing about this is I believe in having things very casual. So if they do, we'll just flow with it.
Great.
So listen, let's start off by you first telling us a little bit about yourself, your background, and how you got started in business.
Okay. So I'm a reluctant mompreneur. I'm a reluctant entrepreneur because I was totally trained in corporate America and academia in a world where there's a very clear path and you know what you need to do to be successful and you can achieve it. It's knowable, it's doable. And I grew up with a father who was an entrepreneur and two brothers who were entrepreneurs. And I watched them kind of go through that feast or famine cycle all my life and thought, nah, not so much. I'll just take, the great job at IBM and I'll take the great job at the University of Oregon and I'll just do what people tell me to do and I'll do it really well. And that was, what I thought was a great definition of success. But as you know, having children really changes your perspective and it rearranges your priorities as well as all of the DNA in your body and puts things in weird spots after that. And, what I found is just that for all the money in the world, IBM wanted me to come back after my leave of absence when I had my first son. And I didn't want to go back. I couldn't care less about the work they were asking me to do. And it just didn't jive with what I wanted to do. So I was a stay-at-home mom with a little tiny kid, and I was an extrovert who was very slowly shrinking and dying because I wasn't getting any air from, outside communities and people and stimulation and whatever. And as much as I adored my babies and motherhood, it wasn't using all the different skills that I had. And so a friend of mine reminded me about coaching that I had been hearing about when I was at IBM, all back in the day. It's been a long time now, over 10 years ago. And I was hearing about coaching, and I thought, oh, what is this life coaching stuff? Yeah, I'm a teacher. That makes sense. I'm a mentor. I like that kind of stuff. And I decided to, after I had my second son, I enrolled in a life coaching program in 2005. And they require us as part of our year-long training to immediately take on clients and actually start doing the work so they can support us. And so that's when I started coaching. And I developed an LLC called Take Aim Coaching, which, funny enough, had no real direction to it. I didn't have a clear niche or target market. I was trying to coach anyone and everything on everything, and it just didn't work. And I had very few clients. So the real change for me about when I really feel like I took control and really got into business, like I actually started putting on the headspace, the mindset of a business owner rather than someone who just worked and got paid money, um, was when my husband took a job in Ontario, and we moved over to Canada and didn't know a soul. And I was in a complete state of shock for a while, trying to figure out how on earth I was supposed to run a business when I could never get to a Chamber of Commerce meeting because I had 3 little kids, age 5 and under, and I didn't trust anybody that I didn't know yet to babysit them in this foreign country. And I didn't know how to meet new clients. I didn't know how to maintain relationships with people I already had. I didn't know how to educate myself because, again, I just couldn't get out without, the thought of leaving my small children who weren't in school yet. And so, after a lot of soul searching and self-pity and, great coaching from my coaches, I finally started realizing that the struggle I was having was something that other people were probably having too. And that's how Mom Biz Coach was born. And I realized that I wasn't the only person trying to run a family and run a business, doing both very well and allowing those both to be priorities in my life. And so that's what did it. I kind of had to go through a real tough breakdown where I was in a country and didn't know anybody and figure out how to connect. And that was the genesis for the business that has helped me thrive and helped me serve a lot of other mompreneurs and help make them successful.
I love that story. I think sometimes, and you touched on this, I think the most important thing I got out of it was that sometimes you're put in a situation that's uncomfortable and you just have to make a choice. And sometimes we need that.
Yeah. It was a push comes to shove sort of situation. And I really felt like, okay, I guess at this point in my life, I just can't have my coaching business. I just can't do this. I guess this situation means I just have to be 100% a mom and focused on the kids. And that choice just did not feel right to me. It felt like somebody was just, again, taking away my air. I'm an extrovert. I'm a smart girl. I need stimulation. I need challenges. I need connections. I need community. And, I was very isolated in Canada with my small babies. And it just, a sad mama wasn't serving them as well as it could. And, so when I started taking care of myself and really, finding that satisfaction and fulfillment that I get through my work, guess what? I have a whole lot more to give them. So.
Absolutely. And what I love about that is that you're not afraid to admit that you weren't, maybe just being just a stay-at-home mom was not getting it for you. And I kind of feel the same way. I love my kiddos heart and soul, but I'm also an extrovert, and I need that interaction with people, and I need to create and develop and be successful. I get a lot from that, and it makes me a better mother.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I love hearing a woman that can own that. And I feel like, there aren't that many people that will willingly admit it, right? Because it kind of feels, for me, I felt like I was a failure as a mom. Like, what's wrong with me? Why am I not blissed out just sitting here playing patty cake, with my babies? And I don't want to miss anything. I don't want to put them in full-time daycare. And, that just didn't work for me. I didn't want that at all. But, my parents were like, wow, you need to work. You are not the same person. They could see that this wasn't working. And, so I think for all of us, if you just understand that your happiness and your fulfillment is your choice and not something that somebody can give to you or take away from you, but something that each of us can decide to have or not have. And when I finally got that and owned it, then, I really started making some shifts in my life that worked and made things so much better. So I'm a lot happier today than I was for a good spell there. But something really good did come out of it, like you said.
That's terrific. Another thing that I want to touch on that you said is that your business was not doing as well when you were very general. And until you really narrowed that down to a specific target market or customer avatar, you didn't succeed. So can we touch on that just a little bit more and what you're feeling on? Sometimes I think people are too general when they really need to narrow down.
I totally agree with you. In fact, I'd go one step further or maybe a huge leap further. And I would say everyone is too general, especially if you're a startup and, becoming and growing your business and getting established. Every entrepreneur I've ever every single entrepreneur I have ever coached has had a wider market than served them well. And here's why. If you think about it, I thought, who could use life coaching? Everybody. Honest to God, the stuff I've learned as a coach, I promise you, every single person in the entire flipping universe could use a life coach. The strides you can make are fantastic. The happiness factor, crazy, awesome, right? So everybody could use a life coach. But here's the crazy thing. When you're trying to market yourself to everybody, nobody responds because we don't call ourselves by the name everybody. Right?
Right.
So the idea of like, if you're marketing yourself and you're like, oh, I serve everybody. I offer this and I offer that and I do everything everybody needs. The fact is your target audience doesn't like being considered everybody. Your target audience likes to think he or she is very unique and special. I know as a consumer, I like to think that I'm special. And it matters to me when I'm talking to someone, if I go and I'm researching and I'm trying to find a new doctor or dentist for my family. You know what? If I talk to somebody and quite honestly, if it's a male doctor and he doesn't have children and he's my, supposed to be my OBGYN, I'm like, yeah, no. And I'm not saying it has nothing to do with his qualifications, not a single thing. It's just something that's actually important to me as a consumer, as a customer. I really want to know, it's an important thing for me. I really want to know that somebody gets me. And that's the same thing for our audience. So that's to me the story I tell all the time with my clients. Like, nobody answers to the word everybody. Nobody goes by that name. So the more narrow you can be. So I don't just work with women. I don't just work with small business owners or entrepreneurs or working women or working moms. I work with moms who run their own companies, and more specifically, with moms who run their own companies who are probably aged 35 to 50 and have at least one ankle biter still at home, also known as a preschooler, right? Because I know that person is going to have a challenge to her priorities and to her time management skills like no other. And I know how to help her. So, yeah. That's
Absolutely.
The difference of being narrow. Yeah.
So what happens when someone says, wow, but if I narrow down my field or my market too much, I won't make as much money. So how do you get that point across to people?
It is hard, right? Like a sledgehammer is not strong enough. No, I'm just kidding. So it is so hard, right? Because it's very counterintuitive. It's very counter logical thinking. So narrowing your target market, like the best metaphor I can think of is be the big fish in a small pond, right? Mm-hmm. So if you imagine a small pond and you're the biggest fish, what do you get? You get everything, right? The little fish get out of your way, So you're the big fish, you get all the good stuff. If you are a tiny fish and you are swimming in the ocean, you're constantly going to be looking over your shoulder at your competitors, trying to figure out what they're doing and what you're not. You're constantly going to be looking over your shoulder at the bigger, more successful fish that are getting all of the food and you're not, right? And there's just no way as an entrepreneur, unless you have an angel investor and you're incredibly well funded, there's no real way to compete with the likes of, say, Best Buy or Target or whatever kind of demographic you're going up against. The big, huge stores out there, they've got enormous resources that we mompreneurs, we small business owners don't have in terms of PR, marketing, advertising, even fulfillment and delivery resources. Like we couldn't handle it if, we were on Oprah Oprah and Dr. Phil and the whole circuit and, we were in Walmart and everywhere. How can you fulfill all of the, deliverables that you need to fulfill if you're that huge because you've been able to get that much marketing and whatever put on your brand? So if you can't compete with the big dogs, why are you swimming in the ocean? How are you ever going to get them to notice you, your target audience to notice you, if you're shooting for the same things that the likes of Target and Best Buy are shooting for? Absolutely. If you go for a smaller pond, you get it. You win. So as I explained, like I went down from not just small business owners or not just women, but all the way down to moms of who run their own companies who are also dedicated to running a great family. And by narrowing it down that far, I got to be the bigger fish, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. So let me ask you, going back to, so you stopped your life coaching and you've narrowed down your market. How did you then go about getting your new clients?
So just a slight correction there. I did not stop life coaching.
Okay.
I just repositioned myself as a business coach because what I found, so everybody in the world still needs life coaching. Everybody in the world could still benefit from it. It's great. But what I found, again, with my target audience and with my own, like me being a part of my target audience, I needed business knowledge. Like, I'm a great coach. I was a great coach in 2005. It's a natural gift. But being a great coach versus being a fabulous, smart, savvy business owner, marketer, great closer at sales, great product development guide, great, all that kind of stuff, all the business stuff, I didn't know how to do. Right? And so I started, educating myself. I started attending seminars. I started hiring coaches and consultants. I started reading tons of stuff on this so I could learn how to run a business. So it became clear to me that, again, if this is my problem, this might be the problem of my target audience too. And that's just exactly the mantra I took. So I started providing business coaching focus rather than just life coaching. And the fact is, I still do tons of life coaching. And so much of that is around, things like being able to choose to be happy, having a mindset that will allow you to be successful in business, having a mindset that says you deserve to make a ton of money, right? Like having a mindset that says it's okay to love your work and be mad at your kids sometimes. That's a lot of life coaching too, right? So I really do work a lot with my clients to make sure that they're communicating well with their families and their clients and their colleagues and their teammates, right? Or to make sure that they are choosing to serve their priorities and not getting hung up on doing what somebody else thinks they should do or following a bright, shiny object or whatever. So there's a ton of life coaching that I still do. I just brand myself more for the business side because, again, from a marketing perspective, it's, I say this all the time, it's choose, if you can figure out a way to position yourself in your market as a painkiller rather than a vitamin, people will have an easier time spending money with you. And what I mean by that, business coaching is a great painkiller. If you are struggling and not knowing how to get clients, even though you are awesome at what you do, that's a pain, right?
Right.
I mean, if you're working 80 hours a week and you're only making $1,000 a month, another big pain, right? So there are all these different pains that people can see in business that are very tangible, and they can go, oh my God, yeah, I will spend money to make this go away. This pain has got to go. And so I position myself as a business coach that solves those problems, right? And in fact, when life coaching does so much of the great work of helping you be happy, fulfilled, helping you write your own definition of success, all that coaching that I do, that's often more of a vitamin. People go, yeah, that would be great, but right now I got a fire to put out because I'm working 80 hours a week and I'm only making $1,000. And my husband said if I didn't pull in $2,500 this month, I have to quit doing this job because it's too stressful.
Right. I like that. I love that analogy, painkiller versus vitamin. And people want their problem solved. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll dump their wallet on the counter if you tell them that you can solve the problem. And I'm not trying to, do smoke and mirrors. I do know how to solve those problems, right? So it's an honest approach, but it's just a shift in my focus in terms of marketing so that I can get the help to more people. Because people often don't know how to pay to be happier. They don't know what that value is. And that's a harder thing for me to sell. So when I was trying to sell life coaching all the time, and I'm not saying that there aren't great life coaches out there doing a great job, making a lot of money and helping a ton of people be happier. I just found for me and for the group of people that I like to work with, moms, we're the same people who will spend, $300 on hockey lessons, but, for our kids, but we're still shopping at Target buying our shoes, right? Because we're going to spend money on the kids first. That is very common for my demographic. So, yeah.
Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. So let me ask you this. Back in 2005, when you were doing this, social media was not such a big thing. So how has
No.
social media changed your business and the way you do business? And how do you use it in your current business?
Oh, I love that question because I'm a social media evangelist now. Now, this is me stepping on my soapbox. You ready?
I love it. Go, girl, you go.
Okay, so I've given a lot of talks on this, and I will say it again and again. Like Twitter saved my life. So in 2008, when I was living in the middle of Ontario and I didn't know anybody and I didn't know how to get out, and I was going through postpartum depression, and I was on my third child now and very lonely, just really struggling away from all my friends and family. Just it was tough. And I I don't remember who suggested I get on Twitter. I don't remember where I heard of it because being an English major, being a writer, being a speaker, being an extrovert, about the last thing I was ever interested in doing is chatting with a bunch of techno geeks on bulletin boards on the internet. Like that is exactly how I saw all of that. And I thought, yeah, no, not my gig. But somebody said something about Twitter. I got on, I tried it for a couple of weeks. I was like, yeah, I don't get this. Why are people talking about coffee or what they ate? I don't care. Like, why should I care? And so I was a Twitter quitter. And for some reason, I don't know, it niggled at me and I just kept thinking about it. And I finally just went back and I tried it again. And something clicked. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was just enough exposure. But I finally just started chatting with people and they'd chat back. And I think maybe, I joined in October 2008. I got onto Twitter. And I had no idea what I was doing. Nobody was mentoring me. Nobody was telling me. I was just following people that I found interesting and talking with them. And then other people would talk to me and I'd talk back. And I'm a Southern girl. I was trained to be nice and polite. So I said hello and please and thank you. And, I said I helped people out when I could. I answered questions and, more and more, like my Twitter following really started growing. And I just was like, oh, wow, this is neat. Actually, this is cool because every time I get on and I share what an awful mom I am, I feel like I'm so bad because the school just called me and my son's on a field trip and they informed me that I forgot to pack him a lunch. And so the teacher had to, buy him something and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just thinking, oh my God, I'm so bad, blah, blah, blah. So I'd write that. I'd talk about that on Twitter. And instead of judging me, people would write back, hey, me too. You know what? That happened to me. Don't be so hard on yourself. It happens to all of us. And like this whole, I could give a zillion examples, but every time I said something that I thought would cause judgment, I shared something that made me feel pretty vulnerable that I wasn't happy about, I would get this amazing support and outreach from complete strangers. And I was floored. I mean, I say all the time, Twitter is like the best therapy ever. I would have never needed to take any, mind-altering drugs when I had postpartum depression. They just should have given me a prescription of Twitter because what I needed was to know that what I was feeling was normal. What I needed was people who said, hey, I've been there. Have you tried this? Or, you know what? Hey, honey, just have a good cry. You'll feel better. That was the best therapy in the world. And so I was building relationships with people, which I didn't know was possible over the internet. And I mean, real relationships, like, holy cow, these people, man, they checked in on me. I checked in on them. We supported each other. We sent clients each other's way. We started referring. Everything just grew like crazy. And before I knew it, I was, I'd join in on like a girls' night out Twitter party back when they first started. And I'd have 100 new followers in one night. And it was just from chatting with these women. And I couldn't believe it. And they were asking me more about my business because we'd already gotten to know each other. And so what I learned is that if you build relationships, people who care about you and who you show you care about them will eventually ask what it is you're doing. And chances are, because the way the search engines and all that stuff works, you're getting matched up with people who are searching for things that you're talking about already. And as you get to talking about it and building these relationships over time, they may have some of the similar interests or needs. And that may make them turn and look to you for help with that. And, by putting my website and, some strong keywords in my bio about what I do and who I serve, that, that was bringing more and more people to me that were looking for somebody who could understand who they were as a mom and who they were as an entrepreneur and how that intersected. And I still to this day get about 95% of my clients off a mixture of Twitter and Blog Talk Radio.
That's very interesting. You know, I love that I think what you just touched on, if I could just kind of summarize that, you were being human. And people want to deal with humans. And I can't say enough how proud I am of you that you admit that, you know, you're not always a perfect mom. Mm-mm. So many people are afraid to admit that.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it is very humanizing, and oh my gosh, it's so freeing. I mean, try it, you know, people, if you're listening to this and you're worried about judgment, just try it. I mean, honestly, I haven't had anybody take me to task and, you know, tisk me. And, you know, actually, I remember one time I posted something about milk, and I just baked apple pie from scratch. And, there's nothing better than going to the orchards with the kids, picking the apples and coming home and baking a pie and having a big glass of milk. And somebody tweeted back, ugh, gross, disgusting, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, wow, really? And so I went and I checked her profile, and, you know, she's a hardcore vegan, and, you know, she couldn't believe I was using butter from animals and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, you know, and so, and then of course drinking milk. And I, instead of being triggered by that, I just reached out and said, hey, listen, you know what? I was a vegetarian for 8 years. I can appreciate that. I said, you know, tell me, what do you celebrate with when you go pick apples, or, you know, do you like that? Blah, blah, blah. We wound up having a nice exchange. You know, she was a very human person, and yeah, she lashed out at me or whatever, but that's kind of just a trigger or something. And I didn't get triggered by it. And by chatting with her like I would any other human, she calmed down, and she was super sweet and friendly and great. And we wound up exchanging some cool recipes, you know? So,
that's a great story.
It is. I find that there are so many really cool humans out there, and I'm so grateful that social media has let me meet so many of them.
I love that. So let me ask you: do most of your clients, what business are? So they're home based businesses, product based businesses. What types of businesses do most of your clients have?
It's a real mix. I would say it's probably maybe 60% services, 40% product based. It is not across the board work at home. We have clients that have businesses that started work at home, but now they are, you know, they're distributing in Walmart and they have a manufacturing plant in China, and like, holy cow, they're enormous. I have a lot of clients that have to work in an office just because they need to get out of their house. So they are not home-based businesses. My business is home-based. I absolutely have no desire to go work from an office. I love my commute to work being, you know, go find the phone and the laptop. That's about it.
And a cup of coffee.
Exactly. So it is, I would say, you know, a mix of probably 60% services-based businesses and 40% product-based businesses. Some retail, brick and mortar. Everybody I ever work with, I make sure that they do have a real strong online presence for marketing, if not for all of their e-commerce.
That's terrific. So let's talk Blog Talk Radio. How did you get involved in that? Tell us a little bit about the show.
Yeah, so I guess it's from Twitter. I met up with a friend on Twitter named Steve Weber. And Steve was one of the guys that I just was amazed. He's a teacher, and he was doing a lot of online teaching on things like SEO and online internet marketing and just stuff that was a whole new world to me. And he had lots of free courses out there. And then I bought some of his packaged products and webinars and stuff that helped me learn a bit more. And I just, you know, he and I chatted over Twitter. I mean, here's this guy. He's really smart, so far ahead of me. He's great. He's doing all the stuff. I'm buying his stuff. And he talks to me, you know, so I'd tweet something to him and he'd tweet me back. And, you know, he seemed to have a lot of genuine respect for what I was doing. And I, of course, had a ton for him. So one day we're just talking and he's like, oh, you know what? We should do some webinars together. I have so many moms that are, studying my stuff. And I'm like, oh, I'd be honored. Let's do that. So we did a couple of webinars together. And then one day he reached out to me. He said, listen, have you ever heard of Blog Talk Radio? And I said, maybe, I don't know. He's like, well, listen, I just set up a show and I'm a show host. I'm like, oh my gosh, that is so awesome. Tell me about it. And he's like, well, listen, I could tell you about me all day. He said, but I was thinking about it for you. And I'm like, really? He said, yeah. He said, for as much as you love to talk, you have got to be a radio show host. I kid you not. That's exactly what he said. And I'm like, Steve, I love you. That's great. And I said, well, yeah, okay, maybe I'll go try it out. He said, listen, just do it. You just go on and set it up. It takes 5 minutes. It's free. Just do it. And I was like, well, all right, I can't argue with that. So I did it. I clicked a few buttons. It said, sign up as a, listener or a host. And I clicked the host button, and holy cow, I was a host. And so I have been hosting the Mom Biz Solutions show since 2009. And I have done a lot of different formats on the show over time. But what I've found I enjoy doing the most, like I've had it where I take callers and I do interviews, and I'll have, 20 or 30 people live. Most of my audience really likes listening on demand on their own schedule. Mm-hmm. And they really want free coaching, right? Like, give me some tips, give me some tricks. I'm trying to run this business all by myself. I need some help. So I'm kind of the beacon in the night, and I get on, and every week, I'm actually on hiatus this summer, but every week, usually Wednesdays at 10 a.m., I get on and I do a 15-minute coaching session off the top of my head, no script. I pulled my information from whatever it is has come up with my clients in the last week or so. I don't speak specifics about my clients, but I talk about whatever the challenge was and what suggestions I have for resolving it. And it's just a 15-minute recorded coaching session. So it's a Mom Biz solution. It's a specific solution for a specific topic. And I have, 3-4 years now of archived podcasts. And I have people who call me and say, I've listened to every single one of your shows.
Wow,
and I've learned so much. Yeah. And that's what I do. So I don't even do interviews. I don't write scripts anymore. I just get on, and sometimes I don't even know what I'm going to talk about until it says your show's going live. And I just come up with it right then. I love it.
That is very interesting.
Thank you. Thank you.
And you said about 5% of your business from there. So that's even better.
Yeah. I get between 400 and 500 listens every week to the show.
Wow. That's terrific.
Yeah. And, like something you and I were talking about right before we got on here is the power of voice marketing and the power of video marketing, right? I mean, I am my product. I am my business. So people need to like, know, and trust me in order to work with me. It's not about money. It's not how much money I charge. It's how much people can like, know, and trust me and feel like I get them. So I think the magic of radio, the magic of audio marketing is that people feel like they can get to know me before they have any skin in the game, having to contact and talk to me or whatever, right? Like they've listened to me for a long time. So they, how we do with people on radio, we've already developed a relationship with them, and, Vicki and Steve in the morning, whatever, right? We just listen to, oh my gosh, Carl Castle on NPR. I love this man. He has no idea who I am, So, I think we can do so much. And I really do encourage a lot of my, my coaching clients who are coaches or consultants or teachers or experts. I really encourage them to do a Blog Talk Radio show for that reason.
I love that. And what I like that you said also is that you do a 15-minute coaching session. And I think some people think, ooh, I can't give away my best content because then people won't buy. And I think that's totally the opposite of what it really is. Give away your really good content and they're going to buy more, is my opinion.
Oh, Sheila, I think you're spot on. I really believe this is the age of content marketing. Like, I know there are 1,000 different choices. I can hit Google and find all of your competitors right now. Okay, so I know I have options as a consumer. Why would I be compelled to buy from one versus another? Why? I mean, what's it going to be? It's going to be that you have been providing me solutions in my language that I can understand, that you get me, and that help me solve my problems. So if you're providing that, that's great content. If you're providing that to your listeners and your readers and your customers, then you're providing great content. And over time, you are building up that bridge of trust that locks out your competition.
Absolutely.
When somebody's been learning from you, they want to get the rest of the story from you. And by the way, I mean, what I do in 15 minutes, I tell it like it is, right? But if you're the type person that can listen and apply that and go forward, and learn from it, and keep yourself accountable, great. The rest of the people out there, which is probably, 60 or 70% of the population, can usually use a bit more customized approach from somebody that needs to tell them how that works for them. And that's why people hire me. They also hire me because they want my experience. They want to rely on a higher level expert in something that they don't maybe feel confident in yet. and they need the accountability to make sure they stay focused and on track. So, there are a lot of different reasons why people would hire me, even if I'm sharing some of the same things that I say right for free on my Blog Talk Radio show.
That is so true, and I think we see that a lot. So let me ask you this. If you had someone out there that said, okay, I'm a stay-at-home, I'm not a stay-at-home mom, I'm a stay-at-home mom, or let's just say maybe I'm not a mom, I'm just a lady that wants to start a business. What advice would you give someone new just starting out?
Pick something you love and make sure that your motivation for starting this business is because you're doing something you love to do. If your motivation in starting the business is that you think you can make a lot of money at it and your goal is to make a lot of money, you've picked the wrong goal and you're going to wind up very dissatisfied. Because that's not how great businesses are built. Great businesses that make a lot of money, that's just not how it works. So that's the first thing I would say. And especially as a mom, I'm speaking only to the moms here, you have to determine your definition of success. And because you are going to be torn, your priorities are going to be torn between doing what's best for your kids, for yourself, for your household, your marriage, and your business, your clients, your teammates, your vendors. You're going to be pulled in so many different directions. The most important thing you can do is determine your own definition of success. What is that going to look like? And when you compare yourself to other entrepreneurs, and this is what we do, we go out and we start reading up on Mompreneur.com and things like that, which is a great resource, don't get me wrong. I love it. But we start reading about these people who, are great, hugely successful. They're making billions of dollars. They've got this great idea for a business startup and they did it and they achieved it. That person may have been able to work 80 or 90 hours a week. And you as a mom entrepreneur cannot. So I'm not going to mince any words right there. Okay. So your definition of success could be, what can I do to fulfill myself and take great care of my number one priority, being my family, and bring in an income of, say, $1,000 a month to start, right? Like that would be success. And oh, by the way, I need to do that working less than 15 hours a week. That would be a great definition of success. If your definition of success is, I actually have had a few clients come to me and say, I want to leave my corporate job. I'm making $125,000 a year. And my goal is with my new startup company that I'm going to start in the next 5 minutes, I'd like to replace that $125,000 income in 1 year.
Good luck.
And I say, honey, hold on, put on your big girl britches because I'm going to say it straight.
Here comes my non-BS answer.
That's right. And you know what? It's been hard for a lot of my clients to hear it and to say it straight, but they've been so grateful that I did not let them go forward and experience the heartache they were setting themselves up for.
I totally agree. I give that advice as well. I have people say, like I told you before we started recording, that I previously owned a furniture and home decor business that ended up being very successful. And that's what a lot of people saw. But what they didn't see was the first 2 years of the business. It was profitable after a year, but my business partner and I, neither one took a salary until about 2 years in, because it was a heavily inventory product business. So all of that money was reinvested. It looked really easy at year 7. But year 1 and 2, it was tough. Yeah, I hear you. Well, let me tell you, if someone wanted to hook up with you, where would be the best place for them to find you?
Oh, my gosh. Well, I'm always in my Twitter office, I say. So my Twitter handle is MomBizCoach. That's MOMBIZCOACH. That is also, okay, you're going to hear a pattern here. My website, mombizcoach.com. Facebook, Mom Biz Coach. I'm out there all over the place, and you're more than welcome to reach out and let me know that you heard me on this show, so that I know where you came from. If you say hello, if you just follow me sometimes on one of those, I have a lot of followers and I don't always catch it. But if you say hello, I will respond and I'll follow you back, because I really do believe in building relationships, and I want to thank you for that.
Lara, this has been terrific. I appreciate your time, your knowledge, and your honesty, most of all. So thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Sheila. You are just a great interviewer, and I appreciate your dynamic attitude and your approach and what you're doing to help so many women on their journey.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it as well.
All right, take care.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, that's our show, and thanks again for tuning in. Hey, I have a huge favor. I'd like for you to join us over at www.successfulwomentalk.com. Join our email list, and on that list, you'll be a VIP. You'll be receiving all of our newest updates, newest interviews, our newsletter, and any tips and tricks we have for organizing your business and getting raving fans and customers that actually just sing your praises. So again, thanks again for tuning in. Check us out next week for another episode of SuccessfulWomenTalk.com. Thanks, guys.